All right, we've inducted 4. We've got 4 more to go here for the class of 2018. And next up is Tim Carrick. And we recognize one of the all-time greats to ever strap in a race car on a weekly basis in and around Kansas City. Never is a long time, but his accomplishments will be hard for anyone in the future to match because he's been at this for 38 years. And he's still going strong. How many drivers have ever raced this long at a competitive level? Very few. Gene Claxton would be one, but you can count them on one hand and have plenty of fingers left to spare, that's for sure. Tim's first race car was a 1972 Chevelle Street Stock he built with his dad, Tom, and they took it to Riverside Stadium, where his first win came that very first season, and his first track championship came 3 years later in 1983. After that, he was off and running, winning 6 more track championships at 3 different tracks over the next 5 years. When pavement racing took hold with the new Lakeside Speedway and the growing popularity of I-70 Speedway in the late 80s and early 90s, Tim knew he had to prove what he could do on asphalt, and he did, winning the I-70 track title in his first season, and he used Harris Dirt Modified, converted to asphalt. In 1992, in a car built for pavement, Carrick won the title at Lakeside. His biggest win was a 100-lapper at I-70 Speedway, 1991. Back to dirt, Tim continued to win races and win championships. He is tied with Gene Claxton for the most track titles at Lakeside with 11. He's won the Tom Carrick Memorial 3 times, the Jayhawk Nationals 3 times, and one of those was a classic finish with John O'Neill and Chad Lau. Tonight, we enshrine maybe the greatest champion racer Kansas City has ever known, Tim Carrick. Come on up here, Tim. Everybody sees you just had shoulder surgery here just, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, my wife really beat me, so that's what happened. She just wanted me to tell people I fell, so. So yes, I did have surgery last week, and so it's better for race season. So
yeah, it had to be planned in time so you could get back going again here at the start.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, they said I could drive already. They just didn't tell me I couldn't drive a race car. They just said a regular car, as long as I'm not taking painkillers, right?
That's it. But you've done this for so long. You got started back when, in 1980? I mean, that's a long time ago.
High school. That was a long time ago. Yeah, and I don't count the years. When you say 38, that sounds like a lot. So, and I've been around a lot of great drivers here. I mean, so I don't consider myself as good as these guys here that done all this other stuff. I mean, the Kosiski's here. I mean, just there's a lot of, I mean, I connect the kids with the go-karts to the old guys. And even John Backlund, we actually, we start having our fellowship meetings after the Chili Bowl races at night times. I really, I think I won a lot of the old guys over because we had some damn good times after the fact. And it's always easy to tell a story when you got Jamie Hager around anyway, because something happens every night that's funny. So when we go to the Chili Bowl, and when we come in at right after the races to get ready to go have our fellowship Christian meetings, the next day John and them guys would always ask us how the meetings went, and we'd have to go over the whole meeting every day. So that's what we did, and it's usually a pretty good story. So, I mean, John, like I said, I can't look at him with a straight face, because he's been there too. So he's got better stories than I do. He just don't tell them all.
I bet I haven't watched you race for all of those 38 years, but I've watched you race for 30 years, ever since I moved to Kansas City. But you've never once ever acted like you ever got tired or burned out in any way. What keeps you going?
Oh, God. Well, yeah, my ADD medicine. No, actually, I mean, I think about, I got to go to work every day and come home and sit in a recliner like Darrin wants to do. That's not me. That's like, I am nowhere close to coming home and sitting in a recliner. It's boring to me. I mean, so, and my wife, she always like, this winter was a tough one on us because she's like, ain't you got something out there in the garage to work on? There was not enough out there to work on, so, and Hager wasn't around, so I had plenty of beer left, so we just used it up instead.
Talk about some of the big moments. We listed a few of them here, but you won some big races over your career. What's been the most fulfilling as far as wins are concerned? You look back on all these many years.
Every win's fulfilling to me. It's just like, when you come in a pit, you got to hear Hager says, maybe someday you might remember what a championship's like. So if you get that, it just drives you more. But honestly, I like the 100 lappers down I-70. They were fun. Actually, I borrowed one of his motors one year and beat him with it too. So at the track. But he made good money on that deal. But ended up at the 100 lappers and winning that Jayhawk 3 times. I mean, when you get them $5,000 checks to put up on your wall, that's huge too. And so, and listening to Fred Broski tell a story is my wife didn't know Clint Boyer yet, and ended up we chose to go to a Harris deal at Jackpot's Casino in Minnesota. And I've never flown before, but old man Boyer booked our trips and all that stuff. And, well, they booked us through Chicago. He says, pack light because we're going to have to run through the airport. Well, we missed our plane. First time I ever flown a plane. Well, we're driving down a back road, and I'm riding in the back seat. And that's when I had a bag phone or some kind of phone. I was talking to my wife going down this back road. We're going 100 mile an hour down some road in Minnesota on the way to this Jackpot's Junction Casino. And Clint, sitting over in the passenger seat, reaches over and grabs the e-brake, going 100 mile an hour. So, and you talk about, and my wife, she's on the other line. She goes, "How well do you know these guys?" I was like, "Not very well, but it doesn't matter now." But ended up, we made it there alive, and we did. Clint was 18, so he was able to drink in that casino, and we woke up late the next morning. That just kind of like Chili Botel too. And his old man was throwing pillows at both of us. "You dumb sons of bitches, get your asses out of bed." So it was needless to say, another good story I'll never forget.
You got started at Riverside Stadium. This is a racetrack that has a long history here in Kansas City, closed in 1988. What made Riverside Stadium so special?
Hell, it was just, I don't know, everybody here grew up there, I mean, besides Steve and Joe. I mean, hell, Bob, he come down there and kicked their butts down there too, but ends up everybody, I mean, as a kid, I watched Junior race, and Parkinson and Al Manning and Virgil Chapman and Dick Howard and all these guys, Dennis Cruz back in the day, they were my heroes as I was going to the racetrack. So, I mean, and just watching all these guys, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, basically racing has kept me out of trouble most of my life. I mean, just so to speak. I mean, really, honestly, it could be worse. We all know that. Way worse. So, but honestly, if you got something to work on in the garage, I mean, you can't go out and drink that night. You just drive straight to the house. So, and hopefully if I ever get a good handling race car, I might do that again someday, just not have to work on a car like I do every week, So, but the drive is still there. It's fun. It's like, I listen to them guys at work getting all crabby and shit. I was like, you guys need a race car. They wouldn't bitch so much.
There was talk about Riverside Stadium, closed in 1988. The old Lakeside Speedway shut down in 88. The new track opened. It was pavement. I-70 Speedway switched back to pavement. You had a choice to make. You had to go pavement racing. How big a deal was that for you, and how big of a challenge was it?
That was kind of bullcrap they shut down at the same time. Whoever planned that deal was way wrong. So, because it drove the market up in the I-70 and Lakeside, but you just had to learn it. Obviously, we figured out now that maybe we shouldn't have raced there every week, and maybe the tracks would still be open. So it's just because it wasn't a weekly racetrack. I-70 in the tire deal at Lakeside. Maybe they should have done something else, like put a go-kart track in the center of the track, you know, and just keep things going. So, but for me to learn it, I mean, my dad did it, so I used to think it was cool back in '69, '70 when Bivens and Dave Walton and them guys were running. Who's that? Fred would probably know us. That announcer that announced the wrestling stuff on Sundays. You could rewatch the race. Bill, yeah, that guy. So, and I thought it was cool. That's my dad on TV. So, and I mean and now it's just the same thing. And it's like Rick Darling and I talked. It's the problem is now. It's all we had to do when we was growing up. You didn't have much choice. Go drink beer, or go to the races, or go fishing, which my uncle burned me out on that stuff with chiggers, and that was boring as hell. So, but now kids have so much to choose from that there's not that many kids coming up into this sport. So without this, I mean, without us doing what we do, I mean, granted, maybe alcohol runners, like they said, like Ray was talking about, run alcohol and stuff, but that's how we all learn stuff. I mean, you don't see the bakers and all them. We don't, I mean, no matter what, it's all good people. That's what we're all around, we're used to. So it's just what we do. I mean, it's just like you ask Bear, everybody knows you, and half the time it's like, the guys, it's like, are you related to everybody in the county here? It's like, no, you just know them all. So that's what it is. So racing's just there. It's just good for us. It's good for your heart.
Yeah, talk about your dad. How big, what was the biggest thing that you learned from him? And he's been gone for some years now, but the biggest thing that was an influence on you?
Well, my dad came from there, like Al was talking earlier. He built his own parts too, a lot. And my dad used to say he had more time than he had money. And hell, to make what you had and be consistent nowadays, that stuff's long gone. I mean, when Bob Kosiski come down to the track, I mean, he's building some of his stuff, but he's ahead of our time. So it just, he taught me how to grind it out, put things together. Hell, I never, my old wife, I made the mistake of telling my wife one time how she asked me, like, when we first married, she goes, how long do you think you'll race? I don't know, 5, 10 years. Dude, they tried to hold you to that crap. I never said that shit again after that. It's like, she's lying. She's a liar. I'm telling you right now, I'll race as long as God lets me race.
That's the way to do it. I mean, why quit?
That's all you got to do. I mean, if I had a racetrack like Steve and Joe, I'd probably do that too. But eventually, someday, I'll probably be doing that. But it's just like, I don't know that I could put up with a bunch of whiny crybaby racers, though. You know, honest to God, I mean, then I feel like a principal. Then I was like, oh, I'd take the fun out of it then. So, and that's why Bear quit so soon. So it's part of it, but it is what it is.
Your family has been so supportive. You got your mom down here, your wife, your kids. They've just been so supportive throughout your entire racing career.
Oh yeah, they are. My wife. I mean, she acts like she don't like it, but she likes it. My daughters love it, and my youngest didn't make it tonight, but my mom and all of them come. Hager, his family, we're like brothers. Collins boys, Andy. I mean, Steve. It's just like family stuff. It's just like, if you don't have nobody around to help you celebrate it, then it ain't no fun. So you got to have them people around. And then it's even the good thing was when the girls were growing up is on the way home when you really, really sucked. They pat you on the back and say, it's okay, Dad. That made it all better that night. Tell you worked on it the next day. He had to pay the bill.
They still love you, ain't it?
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
I know. It's like I paid them.
For a lot of years, you fielded 2 race cars out there. You had a race car for Lakeside, one for CMS. I mean, how difficult is that, working on 2 race cars?
Well, it's way easier. It's way easier when the cars were handling good because I could just go wash one and not work myself to the bone. This last couple of years when I was sucked so bad, I've had to go home and work on the car. And one day, John Baker and I were on the track. I actually got dehydrated out in the garage reinventing the wheel, and I couldn't make it to the track that night. So it was I'm thinking that day probably would have been, I would have never got dehydrated. I would have maybe made another race night that night. So, but I mean, I probably better off having something to work on out in the garage after this winter. That way my wife and I can make it just as long as my race career. So that way she won't have to kill me no more.
All right. Final thoughts about what this means to go into the C.A.R.B Hall of Fame.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I don't like to talk as much as John Baker does, but he's a man of many words. I was noticing that. But it's the coolest thing, and I look around and all the guys I know. I mean, I see the dude sitting over there. I mean, he's the shit. I mean, it's all these guys are being it, and I watched them growing up. I mean, John Lane, Bobby Lane. I'm surprised he's still not using a walker. But I mean, we're all. It's just, you couldn't have been any cooler than this. I mean, honestly, I really never thought I'd be in it because I just wasn't much on the vote and stuff. I thought you had to go win your stuff and just get in that way. But I'm glad I'm in it now. So I appreciate for whoever nominated me and the people that voted for me. But it's one of the coolest things I've done in my racing career.
Talk about your mom down here. She has been there every step of the way.
Yeah, she says she's only 60, but I think she's lying. I mean, it's my mom. I mean, I don't know, between her and Debbie Bergman at Lakeside at the end of the night, them two are the last girls there because they're used to partying. They expect us to stay out as late as they do. So she still does it. She still likes to dance. It's just like, God bless her. She needs to find a better dance partner. Terry Watland, I don't know what happened to him. He quit dancing, but she still loves it just as much. I mean, if she did that, I mean, hell, she'd probably had to go to the old folks' home if she hadn't had no more races.
She doesn't look like she's ever close to that.
I know, but you got to.
That's a long time away.
A long time. So, but no, my sister, she's been there forever. She's raced a car. Joyous, thinks she could race the car, but she needs just go make money like she's doing now. So she sells. Actually, Kurt, you might need. She sells medical supplements to old people.
Oh,
John. So my daughter's Spring Venture Group, yes. How to get her plug in there now. So.
We might ought to end this right now. You ready? You ready to have your award handed to you?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry. So I didn't mean to talk so long. I didn't mean to be like Johnny Baker.
Yeah, we planned on it though, Tim.
Way too much.
Tim Carrick, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Kurt. I appreciate it.
C.A.R.B Hall of Famer Tim Carrick.